Welcome back to our channel, where we explore the fascinating and sometimes tragic stories of maritime history. In today's episode, we'll be delving into the 5 worst cruise ship disasters in history. These incidents left a lasting impact on the maritime industry and serve as reminders of the importance of safety at sea. So, let's set sail into the dark waters of history and uncover these tragic tales. Our first entry needs no introduction. The sinking of the RMS Titanic was a British passenger liner that became one of the most famous ships in history. It was constructed in the early 20th century and was considered a marvel of engineering and luxury at the time. The Titanic was owned and operated by the White Star Line and was built to compete with other ocean liners in terms of size, comfort, and luxury. It was designed to accommodate over 2,400 passengers and had numerous amenities, including grand staircases, luxurious cabins, a swimming pool, a gymnasium, and even a squash court. On its maiden voyage from Southampton, England, to New York City, the Titanic set sail on April 10, 1912. However, tragedy struck on the night of April 14 when the ship struck an iceberg in the North Atlantic Ocean. The iceberg punctured several compartments of the ship, causing it to gradually flood and ultimately sink. The sinking of the Titanic resulted in the loss of approximately 1,500 lives, making it one of the deadliest peacetime maritime disasters in history. The ship's inadequate number of lifeboats contributed to the high death toll, as there were not enough to accommodate all the passengers and crew. The sinking of the Titanic had a profound impact on maritime safety and led to significant changes in international regulations. It prompted the implementation of stricter safety measures, such as the requirement for ships to carry enough lifeboats for all passengers and crew, improved radio communications, and the establishment of the International Ice Patrol to monitor iceberg dangers. The story of the Titanic has captured public fascination for over a century, and numerous books, films, and documentaries have been produced to recount the events surrounding its sinking. Today, the Titanic remains a symbol of both human ambition and the fragility of technology when faced with the forces of nature. Moving on to the Dona Paz was a Philippine passenger ferry that was involved in one of the deadliest maritime disasters in history. On December 20, 1987, the Dona Paz was on a voyage from Leyte Island to Manila, Philippines, when it collided with the Mount Vector, an oil tanker, in the Tablas Strait. The exact details of the collision remain disputed, but it is believed that both vessels were traveling at high speeds and did not notice each other until it was too late to avoid the collision. The impact caused a massive fire on both ships, resulting in a catastrophic loss of life. The Dona Paz, which was significantly overcrowded at the time of the accident, quickly became engulfed in flames and sank within a few hours. The Mount Vector also sank, but with a significantly lower loss of life. The exact number of casualties from the Dona Paz disaster is uncertain due to issues with passenger manifests and overcapacity on the ferry. It is estimated that approximately 4,386 to 4,386 people lost their lives in the tragedy. The vast majority of the victims were passengers on the Dona Paz, including men, women, and children. The Dona Paz disaster stands as one of the deadliest peacetime maritime tragedies in history. It brought attention to issues of maritime safety, overcrowding, and inadequate regulatory oversight. The incident led to changes in safety regulations and a re-evaluation of passenger ferry operations in the Philippines. The Dona Paz tragedy remains a deeply mourned and remembered event in the Philippines, serving as a somber reminder of the devastating consequences that can occur when maritime safety is compromised. Next on our list is the Janyomaru, was a Japanese ship that was tragically involved in a maritime disaster during World War II. In September 1944, the Janyomaru was transporting approximately 4,200 prisoners of war, POWs, and forced laborers, mostly Dutch and British, from Java, Indonesia, to mainland Japan. The ship was part of a convoy when it was torpedoed by the British submarine HMS Tradewind in the Indian Ocean. The torpedoes struck the Janyomaru, causing it to sink rapidly. The ship's holds were overcrowded and locked, making it difficult for the prisoners to escape. Additionally, many of the POWs were held below deck due to the ship's design, making it challenging for them to reach the surface. The exact number of casualties from the Janyomaru sinking remains uncertain, but estimates range from around 5,600 to 5,640 people who perished in the incident. The majority of the victims were POWs and forced laborers, including men, women, and children. The sinking of the Janyomaru highlights the human tragedy and suffering experienced during World War II, particularly among civilian populations and POWs. It serves as a reminder of the harsh conditions and dangers faced by those caught in the midst of the war. The Janyomaru disaster has been the subject of various historical studies, books, and documentaries that seek to shed light on the experiences of the victims and the impact of the war on maritime operations. The incident stands as one of the lesser-known but significant maritime tragedies of World War II. Now, let's talk about the Goya. Was a German ship that became involved in one of the deadliest maritime disasters of World War II. During the final months of the war, the Goya was used to transport refugees, wounded soldiers, and military personnel across the Baltic Sea. On April 16, 1945, while evacuating German civilians and military personnel from East Prussia, the Goya was attacked and torpedoed by a Soviet submarine, resulting in its sinking. The exact number of casualties from the Goya sinking remains uncertain due to the chaotic nature of the event. Estimates range from around 6,000 to 7,000 people who lost their lives in the disaster. The majority of those on board were civilians, including women, children, and elderly individuals. The sinking of the Goya highlighted the immense human tragedy that unfolded during the mass exodus of German refugees and military personnel as the Soviet forces advanced. The incident serves as a reminder of the devastating consequences of war and the toll it took on innocent lives caught in the midst of conflict. The sinking of the Goya has been covered in various books, documentaries, and historical accounts, shedding light on the experiences and suffering endured by those involved. It stands as one of the lesser-known but significant maritime disasters of World War II. Lastly, we'll explore the lesser-known tragedy of the MV Wilhelm Gustloff. Was a German passenger ship that was named after the leader of the Swiss Nazi Party, Wilhelm Gustloff. The ship was constructed in the late 1930s as part of the Strength Through Joy, Kraft durch Freude program, which aimed to provide affordable leisure activities for German workers. During World War II, the Wilhelm Gustloff was repurposed as a military transport vessel and used for the evacuation of German civilians and military personnel from East Prussia and other areas threatened by the advancing Soviet Red Army. On January 30, 1945, the ship embarked on its last voyage from the port of Gottenhofen, now Gdynia, Poland, to Kiel, Germany. Tragically, the Wilhelm Gustloff was targeted by a Soviet submarine, S-13, commanded by Captain Alexander Marinesco, in the Baltic Sea. On the evening of January 30, 1945, the submarine fired torpedoes at the ship, resulting in multiple hits. The Wilhelm Gustloff sank within approximately 45 minutes, leading to an immense loss of life. The exact number of casualties remains uncertain due to incomplete passenger lists and chaotic circumstances. However, it is estimated that around 9,400 people perished in the sinking, including civilians, military personnel, and refugees, making it one of the deadliest maritime disasters in history. The sinking of the Wilhelm Gustloff is often viewed as a controversial event due to the large loss of civilian life. The ship has since been the subject of various literary works, documentaries, and historical studies that explore the tragedy and its significance within the context of World War II. And there you have it, the 5 worst cruise ship disasters that shook the world. Each of these events has left an indelible mark on maritime history, reminding us of the importance of safety measures, preparedness, and responsible leadership at sea. Join us next time as we uncover more intriguing stories from the depths of maritime history. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring. Thank you for watching, and remember to like, share, and subscribe for more captivating content.